Hello and welcome to sim.bc, where I'm going to say to me mates, I'm gonna say me mates, because I've gotten the, the critique that I'm saying me mates all of the time in all of the videos. Somebody has come up and said to me like, well, that's not how you say it. That's not grammatically correct. Are you aware, mate? Yeah, you're aware about that fact? And I'm like, yeah, but me mates are saying, and they're like, no, stop it right there, because I got more critique for you. First of all, buy an HD camera, yeah? And I can honestly say to all of you out there watching, I haven't bought an HD camera because, well, my lack of understanding within the subject, my lack of understanding about HD cameras. I don't want to buy a bad one that I end up regretting that I bought, and I don't want to invest too soon in this YouTube thing because I'm thinking, well, I should stay here for about as long as I can without upgrading. And I know that sounds absolutely ludicrous and mental to some people, because some people are going to say, if you're not investing in the your idea, how are we going to know that you actually believe in it? Well, that's because I'm spending like all of my day doing this. But what I'm going to say is that I want to buy an HD camera, but I just want to find the right one first, the correct one first. Another funny thing that somebody pointed out to me is that in the video description that I have had since, well, forever now, I thought that I had written, I'm hoping for a long and educational experience. Something along those lines. But what I've actually written apparently is not hoping. I've been, typing hopping because I've spelled it wrong. So apparently I haven't been hoping for a long and educational experience. I've been hopping for a long and educational experience. Just skipping around for that educational experience and all of the feedback. So addressing some of the critique that I've gotten recently, which is all good, by the way. Keep it up, mates. Yeah, me mates. You out there, me mates that I'm talking to. Yeah, I'm talking to me mates out there, yeah? Just keep up the critique, because the harsher the critique, the more I can make fun of it. I mean, the more I can take it to heart and actually change things. But yeah, an HD camera, believe me, I've thought about it. Why? Well, because I've been sitting and watching myself for days now, for months, and it is bothering me that it's not an HD quality. But what do you do? It's not like I have unlimited resources. If I had, then, well, what would I do in YouTube? No, of course, it's more of a passionate project. Anyway, that is not why you're here, right? You're not here listening to me talking to me mates, yeah? Talking about me mates. And if I haven't mentioned it, I think a bit of a critique came from me mates. Anyway, you're not here to listen to all of that. No, you're not. You're not here listening to me hopping and skipping around in the educational journey. You're not here to talk about the HD camera. You're not here to talk about me mates. You're here because we're going to continue our little project that we got going on. And that is about a founder's problem. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? And that is all of the potential problems out there that can happen to a founder, to a young entrepreneur when it comes to starting your own business. The struggles, the problems, the hinders, the hurdles, all of the things that can be in your way when developing a new sort of idea. And today we're going to touch upon this specific thing of giving up your entire life while gearing up. And the idea behind this is that, well, as we've been talking about before, and we have mentioned this before, going back to when we talked about it in the beginning, but now it's more, you gotta be whatever you're doing, right? We have talked a lot about that. You need to give up the time. You need to actually come up with an idea and invest in that idea, not only in a timely manner, but actually the execution as well. But that's just gonna get you so far. You need to be a part of your idea. You need to live and breathe your idea. For instance, if we're taking a perfect example that I have very close to heart, well, because it's this channel, for instance. If we're taking the YouTube channel, for instance, that I'm using, a good, well, what you would say, 80% of my wake time on my day goes into developing new ideas and thinking about YouTube. To think about new videos, thinking about, well, can I find a camera? What sort of camera do I need to use? What kind of critique am I looking for? Or how can I apply this critique that I've been, gained to the channel? How can I attract more viewers? How can I make a bit more of a, attraction on YouTube? How can I improve my own language? How can I improve my posture? here? Is it something that is actually important? Is it not? How can I be more funny? How can I be more serious? How can I implement stuff that I've seen in other channels? How can I, well, not implement the stuff that I think are bad? How can I get out the bad habits? How can I get into good habits? And lots of those things simultaneously as animation and scheduling problems and thinking about marketing and actually trying to market. And the list goes on and on and on. So basically, me right now, I'm living and breathing the channel. Why? Well, because it is a new startup. The things aren't at their position yet. You see what I'm saying? Because in a big corporate, a big corporation that has been along for a very long time, you usually tend to have these positions where you're easily slotted into a position, and that is your position. That is what you're going to do. I think we've been discussing this before, but the idea is that if you're in the marketing department, maybe you're in the marketing social media department, maybe you're in the social media communication department of the marketing department, in that little split area, and that is what you do. That is the only solid thing that you do, 8 hours a day for 5 days a week or 6 days a week, depending on what position that you do have. And that is your only matter of concern. That is your problem of focus. That is probably what all of your projects and all of your teams is going to be revolved around. But when you have a startup, that's the exact opposite. Because let's say that you want to focus on that. That's all great. That's all good. But if you just focus on that, then the entire marketing department, well, first of all, it doesn't exist. But the entirety of the market, the marketing process goes to waste because you're only focusing on one thing. And if you're only focusing 8 hours a day on the marketing, the social media communication part, then you go, well, then what happens to the service? What happens to the product that you're trying to develop? And what happens to the future planning? What happens to the schedule? What happens to the HR? Maybe you don't have that much of an HR problem, but believe me, I'm a solo entrepreneur right here, and even I have these HR problems. I need to manage my time. I need to manage my work life. I need to manage the study time and my personal time. I need to being able to chill while simultaneously putting in the hours necessary to actually, go somewhere. You need to think about coming up with new ideas. So if you're only doing that as a startup, you're only thinking about the marketing, social media, communication skill, that fraction of the company. Because you're thinking like, oh, I've been working with that before in a big corporation. Now that I'm going to make a startup, I'm going to make sure that people don't fall for the unnecessary things that happens when you disregard the social media communication in the marketing department. And it's all good, probably. You're not going to fall for those pitfalls, because you have the experience within it. Because maybe you have been working at, as I said, at a bigger corporation before. But just imagine you're going to apply these to all of the other things that happens in an organization, because you are probably going to be the sole entrepreneur that works with the entire process of making a business. So you do not only need to actually put in the time and being able to schedule, you also need to live and breathe and have a drive, and in a drive, a passion for actually trying to learn new things. Because if you're slotting yourself into, well, this is my previous knowledge. For me, take me for example. For me, for instance, I've been studying business now for 2 years and 3/4 of a year. So one can argue that I have a bit of a background. Yeah, I'm taking my bachelor degree to this summer. I'm going to have a certified academic, opinion in, the grander scheme of things. However, I still need to find the things that I'm not that good at and develop those things. For instance, marketing isn't my strong suit. Communications isn't my strong suit. Business maybe, management maybe, but I still don't have the necessary work experience within those fields as of yet. So I still need to develop those skills that I already have, and I still need to have this inner drive of actually wanting to find things. So you need to be able to both live and breathe your organization in the startup process, because it's going to be so crucially important that you actually then just being able to slot yourself into one of the, as I said before, the fractions of the business that you're really good at. You need to be able to apply your newly gained knowledge to all of the things in the business and actually drive it by yourself. And that is why it's important that you have a passion. Yet again, we talked about in a previous video that you need to be, prepared that your passion that you're trying to develop here might turn into your business, and that will drive away the passion for you. And that is a valid concern. However, the second thing I want to go into here, that is, you are likely going to be a public person when it comes to developing your project. Not only are you going to be the CEO, the CFO, the CIO, the CEO all of those things. No, 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 no. That's not the only thing. And not only that, all of those titles are going to be compiled into one person. No, that's not what I'm thinking either. What I'm thinking is that you're going to represent the development of your entire company. Now, that might sound like, well, it's only me at the company. It's not going to make that much of a difference if I make something, an outrageous claim on Twitter, or if I go on Facebook and say something, or on Instagram and so on and so forth. Well, I would argue that it actually will. Because you will be representing the development of your company, and the development in the beginning is going to be a lot more this is hard. I would like to both argue that it's going to be more forgiving and it's going to be more crucial at the same time. Mistakes are probably going to be more forgiving in the beginning because, well, people are not going to care that much about you because you're a small company. However, you need to not make those missteps. You need to actually slot yourself in such a way in the social media world and in your marketing, and both your personal marketing and your company's marketing, that you're viewed positively all of the time to, exponentially increase the growth of your, of your business, of your network, and of your your reputation. I was going to say experience, but that's of course going to go along with it, but with your reputation as well, and try to develop everything in a concise manner, and therefore there's more important that you're doing the positive things all the time. So you're going to be an influential part of your business in the beginning, because you're going to yet again be this public person who is connected, very closely connected to the company. So if you do something in your social life that people think is, well, that's not what the company actually stands for, they're actually going to connect that directly to your company. Because if you're a solo entrepreneur, well, just imagine, you're the only one working at the company. You make up 100% of the corporate culture at the company. So if you do something that's outrageously bad and crazy in this, catastrophic world that we're living in. I mean, all of us are stupid, right? We're all humans. We're all stupid. And we just need to try and figure out ourselves and our position in this chaotic world. And whilst doing that, we're going to make mistakes. And I'm yet again going to refer you to Jordan Peterson if you have any future interest in this topic, because he's talking about that in his Jing and Jang video, I think, something like that, about chaos in the in society and how we slot in. Now, that's a bit of a digression, but still the idea is that we're going to make mistakes because we're trying to take on we're trying to take on reality, we're trying to take on society and trying to make our own interpretations of it. So of course we're going to make mistakes along the way, but it's going to be even more crucial that you try to avoid these mistakes when you're making a new business, because yet again, it's going to be closely connected to who you are as a person and what the company is. Because yet again, you're making up 100% of the company's employees, you, and you're therefore also making up 100% of the corporate culture within the corporation. So that was everything for me today, mates. I actually wanted to touch upon that there is such a thing as bad publicity, because that's generally not seen that way. You usually hear people saying there's no such thing as bad publicity, but I would argue that there is the other way around. Yet again, connecting it back to you are going to be the public person, and if you do something in this highly connected world, it's probably going to backlash on you. And again, something that Peterson is mentioning in the H3 podcast. Can I leave the description for that down below so that you can go and check it out yourself. But anyway, I think that I'm going to briefly mention it or make a video about it tomorrow, instead of talking about building your best team. Instead, talking about that there is such thing as bad publicity. And yet again, apply source critique to that tomorrow. And if you want to, read up on the subject and give your feedback on it on tomorrow's video. But that was everything, mates, for me today. I promise you, this is going to be the last time I'm saying, this was everything for me today, mates, and then reintroducing anything.